Part 141. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1401. Click. Tian Li landed, and Huang Gan, the patriarch of the Baron clan, swung his holy sword towards him. Fang Fan frowned secretly. This thunder tribulation is not easy to handle. Samsung Sanctuary, even the weakened version is still strong. The Saint-level annihilation card Fang Fan gave to Huanggan can kill this thunder directly, but there is a more powerful ninth thunder. It's not appropriate to use this whole card now. Huanggan is now the servant of the god of the gods. The magical effect of the gods and servants of the gods can come in handy. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, thinking to himself, and at the same time he began to gradually implement it. Share the power. Fang Fan snorted secretly, and then mobilized all the energy in his body. Prepare to share it with the patriarch of the Baron clan. The god of wild god servant god skill shared, it can be forcibly extracted by the god of wilderness and added to the power of the god of wilderness, or it can be bestowed with supreme power by the god of wilderness. I am only a low-level quasi-sanctuary now, with limited power, the help provided will not be too much. Fang Fan secretly thought about it, and then began to frantically turn his mind. Aragama's Wrath. Fang Fan gave a low voice and took the lead in using the Aragama's Fury magical skill, and immediately, his combat power skyrocketed by 3 levels. The low-level Quasi-Sage directly skyrocketed his combat power to the top Quasi-Sage. Although it only lasted for 10 minutes, it was enough. In this way, the power can be temporarily lent to Aragon through the divine skill share. My power, doubled. Huang Gan, who was in the middle of the calamity, was stunned for a moment, and then his face showed a look of surprise. At the same time, he seemed to have thought of something, and hurriedly cast an excited look at Fang Fan. Fang Fan nodded secretly, and then waved his hand again, indicating that he would focus on transcending the calamity with all his heart. Click. The 8th thunderbolt landed, and the body of the Baron clan chief, Huang Gan, fell like a kite with a broken string. Boom. Cough. Cough cough. Huang Gan shivered and coughed out a few mouthfuls of blood, lying on the ground, twitching slightly. Fortunately, carry it over. The 8th thunder, the weakened version of the Samsung Sanctuary. Relying on a quasi-sage like Huang Gan, it is not easy to resist. At the critical moment, a wave of the gods and servants of the gods and goddesses sharing also played a big role. Taken together, all aspects are helpful. What we are about to usher now is the final 9th thunder. At this moment, Fang Fan's hanging heart fell silently. After all, there is still a whole card that has not been used, so it is perfect. Rumbling. Thunder rushes together, thunder comes. Invincible. At this moment, I still enjoy the energy of Fang Fan's support of the past. That is to say, what Huanggan has at this moment is the power of 2 absolute quasi-sages. When Tian Li completely fell, Fang Fan's face instantly froze. Huanggan did not use the Saint-level annihilation card. The enhanced version of the 3-star Sanctuary level Tian Li was blocked by the 4-star Holy Sword and the 1-star Swallowing Holy Armor, but it consumed most of the energy. But the enhanced version of the 3-star Sanctuary level Tian Li, even if only a small half of the energy is left, is enough to annihilate most of the quasi-sanctuaries. The barren body fell straight from the sky. The patriarch of the wasteland. Fang Fan cried out, his face urgent. Above the ground, a piece of scorched earth. Far away, Fang Fan could even smell the smell of burnt meat. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1402. The scene was very chaotic. Wild Murder's face instantly turned pale. Father. Huang Shi trembled and flew over, the anxious look in his eyes was obvious. Father's heart to heart, that's probably how it feels. Fang Fan's eyes scanned the surroundings, and he felt it, but he couldn't feel any breath of life. Fang Fan's eyes immediately became silent. Did he really get lost in the sanctuary thunder tribulation when he got the waste? Then he used the blessing of the wild god to him before, and let him attract the thunder of the sanctuary. Didn't he harm him? Thump. Dong dong dong. In the scorched earth, there was a sudden tremor. The tremor became stronger and stronger. Pieces of minced meat actually began to slowly gather. A scorched figure gradually appeared in front of everyone. Huh, still alive. Huangsu, don't be too nervous. The front is the land covered by the sanctuary thunder tribulation. If you fly over, you will surely die. At the critical moment, Fang Fan stopped Huang murder, and at the same time he breathed a sigh of relief. As long as people are alive, there is no problem. The thunderbolts in the sky gradually dissipated, and the milky white rays of light gradually gathered. After the thunder calamity, it is God-sent auspiciousness. The milky white light fell on a piece of scorched earth, and gradually, the scorched color on Huang Gan, the chief of the Baron clan, gradually faded away, replaced by a new skin. At the same time, the cultivation base of Huanggan also officially broke through. 1-star sanctuary. Ended. Fang Fan nodded secretly, then strode forward with a smile on his face. Lord, this God card is returned to you. God card is too precious, I'm not willing to use it. Huang Gan's face showed a simple and honest color, and then he respectfully delivered the saint-level annihilation card. Fang Fan was stunned for a while, then sighed. No wonder the last wave of Wasteland did not use the saint-level annihilation card, so there was such a reason. Can't bear, it's true. In my heart, your value is comparable to billions of such cards. In the future, such risks are not allowed. I gave you this card, just for you to use it at a critical time. Do you know how dangerous it was just now? If Tianli's power was a little stronger, you would have been killed. Fang Fan's mouth twitched, his face suddenly became serious, and his heart was silent and calm. The warriors of the Baron tribe, worthy of his heart. Lord, you have helped me enough. If you hadn't lent me the holy sword and holy armor this time, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to survive even the 6th layer sanctuary thunder tribulation, let alone the terrifying 9th layer sanctuary thunder tribulation. Lord, this is the holy armor and holy sword, you keep it? As Araki said, he respectfully delivered the 4-star holy sword and the 1-star swallowing holy armor. This devouring sacred armor has a lot of origins with me, so I took it back. As for this 4-star holy sword, just use it. You have now been promoted to the Holy Land, and you really need a holy sword to improve your combat power. Fang Fan said, then put the 4-star holy sword back into Huang Gan's hands again. This. Give me. Lord, this is a 4-star holy sword, subordinate he to Henang, this can't be done, it's too precious. Huang Gan's body trembled and quickly declined. You can use this holy sword to maximize your combat effectiveness, so you can better protect me. What? Is it possible that the Huanggan Patriarch is unwilling to protect me? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1403. Fang Fan raised the corner of his mouth and said in a slightly joking tone. Of course not. Lord, this holy sword is too precious, I really dare not accept it. Huang Gan gave a wry smile. At this moment he only felt a lot of pressure. Seeing Fang Fan bestowing the 4-star holy sword on Huanggan, the surrounding practitioners were instantly stunned. Especially the war slave practitioners of the war slave army are envious and jealous. Huanggan's luck is too good. How can he have such a good relationship with the Lord? The Lord first brought him to the sanctuary, and now he has given him a 4-star holy sword. The former president of the God-destroying society, Fu Tujian, spoke with a look of jealousy and envy on his face that he did not hide at all. At this moment, it is completely sour and turned into lemon essence. If I can be reused by the Lord, I can also be brought to the sanctuary by the Lord, and I can be given the holy sword. That would be great. If so, I would like to fight for the Lord for the rest of my life. Slave. Fight on the battlefield for the Lord, and die. As the Buddha spoke, the jealous look in his eyes became more and more obvious. The relationship between the Lord and Huanggan is not as simple as you think. When have you ever seen a warrior of the barren tribe bending over and bowing his head to others? Although it is said that the Lord has saved the desolate clan this time, it is not enough to let the desolate clan bow their heads like this. Obviously, there must be many elements involved. Perhaps, our Lord himself is a desolate clan, or, is the incarnation of that supreme existence. Brahma clan patriarch, Brahma, said as he spoke, his eyes suddenly became sharp, and when he talked about this, he felt his whole body surging with blood and excitement. Since then, haven't they all followed the right master? How can Sai Weng lose his horse and know that it is not a blessing? Maybe, this is another chance in their life. After all, according to their original trajectory of life, they may die alone in the Wailing Canyon, become the God-forsaken according to word of mouth. There is a feeling of loneliness in my heart. At this moment, it seems that a brand new door is opening towards them. Although the starting point is very low, who can predict the future development prospects? Brahma passed away and Buddha's sword looked at each other, already having some other thoughts and ideas in their hearts. Fang Fan looked at Huanggan, and he naturally knew the anxiety in Huanggan's heart. Do you think you are not worthy of this holy sword? I still have such a holy sword, you don't have to be under pressure. Fang Fan said, and then took out a 4-star holy sword. At the beginning of the sword mound in the secret realm of Chentian, Xiao Xiao won 3 holy swords at one time, 1 5-star holy sword and 2 4-star holy swords. The 5-star holy sword is for Xiaoxiao's own use, and the other 2 4-star holy swords are left to Fang Fan's disposal. My lord, if you are extraordinary. Seeing Fang Fan taking out a 4-star holy sword again, Huanggan couldn't help but sigh. But then he understood. The true identity of the Lord is the crown of the great desolate God. Although he still needs to be dormant for some reason at this moment, what is the point of taking out a few holy swords? Thank you Lord for the reward. Huanggan no longer refused, and immediately fell to his knees, looking very respectful. The desolate race has ended, and Fang Fan is also ready to return directly to the human plane. All the people of the desolate clan, plus the 100,000 people from the war slaves army, also set off together. After careful thought, Fang Fan said immediately. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Xu Yu. Chapter 1404. The War Slaves Legion. At this moment, there are 50 quasi-sages and 2 quasi-sages, and the rest are at least the powerhouses of the real king and emperor realm. The combat effectiveness of such a legion is still very objective. When it comes to the human plane, as long as it is controlled a little, it can play a huge role. As for the barren tribes, Fang Fan is not at ease to place them in the Wailing Canyon, bring them to the human plane, and combine them with the barren tribes that Fang Fan had recruited, which is also very good. Patriarch Huanggan, do you have any opinion? Fang Fan pondered secretly, and then looked at Huanggan. After all, Huanggan is the patriarch of the Huang clan. Before making these decisions, he should naturally ask for his opinion. But it's up to the Lord to arrange. For the barren clansmen, it is our supreme honor to be able to follow the Lord. The attitude of Huang Qian is obvious, that is, what you say is what, I will not have any opinion. In an hour, the whole army, move on. Fang Fan took a deep breath, his eyes twinkled brightly, he hadn't returned to the human plane for too long, and he was somewhat excited. An hour later, the entire army is fully galloping. Fortunately, there are enough flying warships stored in several major families, otherwise they really can't hold so many people. There are 100,000 war slaves in the War Slaves Legion, plus nearly 30,000 people from the Baron tribe, there are almost hundreds of thousands. Of course, Fang Fan can also directly put them into the small world of Shushan Pavilion, and then put them down after the human plane. But in general, it is quite troublesome. Hundreds of thousands of people want to put them all into the small world of Shushan Pavilion, but it is not because there is not enough space, and it is too time-consuming. On the way, there was nothing to do, Fang Fan immediately took stock of his property. More than 200,000 star cores, is Fang Fan's last stubbornness. One star core is equivalent to trillions of top-quality divine crystals, which seems to be quite a lot, but at this moment, even a 10-star legion can't reach the low-level quasi-sanctuary. All I can say is, still poor. Fang Fan thought to himself, and glanced at the system panel intentionally or unintentionally. Ding. Crazy believer -1. Ding. Crazy believer -1. Ding. Crazy believer -1. Fang Fan's eyes suddenly froze, what's the situation? The power of faith collapsed? The 10th level mad believers under his command are basically from the wild people, their belief in the wild gods has never made any mistakes. The prompts on the system panel are still increasing like crazy. Number of mad believers, 31,255. Among them, 31,219 mad believers of the wild tribe. This is the current number of fanatics. Number of mad believers, 31,321. Among them, 31,285 mad believers of the wild tribe. This is the number of fanatics that were previously frozen. Fang Fan's eyes probed further, and the number of mad believers at this moment had decreased by 66. Among them, the number of desolate mad believers has also decreased by 66. In other words, it is indeed the mad believers of the desolate tribe that have a problem. The belief of the barren tribe will not collapse. There will be no accidents. Then there is only one reason for the decrease in the number of desolate mad believers. It's the desolate clansmen who passed away. If it was normal birth, old age, sickness, and death, it wouldn't be so quick. Call. What happened to the human plane? Fang Fan squinted his eyes, and there was a flash of light in his eyes. He also hoped that his guess was wrong, but that was the only way to explain it now. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1405. If there is really a problem with the human plane, it is definitely not just the fall of the desolate people. I am afraid that the overall form will not be optimistic. Speed up. Fang Fan took a deep breath, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. Now is not the time to delay. If the human race plane is invaded by foreign enemies, he can't blame him. Even, in Fang Fan's mind, he has already made up for the major forces that have offended him along the way. In Chentian City, he successively killed Ji Unming, the master of the Young Palace of the Heavenly Sword Palace, the master of the Heavenly Sword Palace, Ji Unzun, and the ancestor of the Heavenly Sword Palace, Sword Demon. In addition, the Earth Fiend sect has also beheaded many practitioners, and even the Baisha ancestor of the Earth Fiend sect has become his war slave at this moment. As for the Chentian clan and the 10,000 Demons Alliance, they have already formed an alliance with the Palace of the Emperor, so the possibility is not very high. As far as the human plane's current defense capability, let alone these third-rank forces, even a seventh-rank force can't hold it back with all its strength. Call. I'm still too careless. It's been too long since I left the human plane. Mayer, Kylan, and all the brothers from the human plane. Fang Fan clenched his fist secretly, and his eyes flashed brightly. At this moment, he naturally did not dare to slack off. The whole army is galloping. It takes almost 7 or 8 days to fly from the Wailing Canyon to the human race. Wild murder. You lead the army behind. I personally lead the elite first. Fang Fan directly ordered, and immediately brought the 10 major legions, 4 divine pets, 6 heroes, and the 2 supreme quasi-sages, Huang Gan, the patriarch of the Baron clan, and the war slave legion to fly together. Along with him is Sikong Yuxin. Sikong Yuxin is also a low-level quasi-sage, and his combat power is quite good. Huang Gan, the patriarch of the Desolate clan, has just broken through the sanctuary, and is considered the strongest combat power under Fang Fan's command. If something goes wrong, he can resist a wave in time. Form, not optimistic. A little careless, you may lose the whole game. Fang Fan can't afford to gamble, and doesn't want to gamble. He will fight to the end. The will of this bloody battle is churning in his mind, causing Fang Fan's blood to surge along with it. If the human race loses, I will slaughter all the enemies. Fang Fan gritted his teeth, killing intent in his eyes. The human race is Fang Fan's only weakness. It is also his ban. When the human race is present, he has a sense of belonging, and the same journey begins here. If the human race perishes, everything will be the moon in the mirror. According to Fang Fan's thoughts, he wants to make the race rise completely. Stand proudly in the ranks of the powerhouses of the heavens. 3 days later. The originally 7 to 8 day journey was abruptly shortened to 3 days with Fang Fan's rapid blessing. Seeing that the distance from the human race plane was only an hour away, Fang Fan's eyes became more and more solemn. In the past few days, one after another, the mad believers of the wild tribe have disappeared. The number of mad believers of the wild tribe is also rapidly decreasing. There is no doubt that something big has happened to the human plane. Lord, there is a high-level quasi-holy level giant flying warship ahead. Do you want to intercept? Galen rushed over and immediately reported. Flying warships should be graded. When Fang Fan traveled from the luminous galaxy to the Chentian star territory before, he took a small flying warship, which was able to exert the power of the 3-star Emperor realm. After the small flying warships are the medium-sized flying warships, which can generally exert the power of the 5-star and 6-star Emperor realm. After that, the large flying warships can even be comparable to the average 9-star and 10-star Emperor. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1406. Of course, if a 10-star Sovereign Realm Cultivator were to face a large flying warship, the battle power might be equal in a short period of time, but in a long-term battle, the 10-star Sovereign Realm Cultivator would definitely win. The size of the warship is too large, and the flexibility is naturally much worse, so it is still weaker against practitioners of the same combat power for a long time. A giant flying warship like the one in front of you is even more powerful. The lowest ones start at the low-level quasi-holy level, and the strongest can even reach the top quasi-holy level. In the Chentian clan, there are several such warships, majestic and majestic. It is said that on top of the flying warships, there are even more powerful flying warships. The power is stronger, but Fang Fan has never seen it once. There is not much distance from the human plane here. This is the luminous sun galaxy. How can such a giant flying warship appear in the luminous galaxy? Or is it a high-level quasi-saint level? No. There is a problem. There must be a problem. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, and his face gradually became indifferent. Stop it! Stop this giant flying warship for me! Fang Fan gave an order, and the practitioners under his command gathered in an instant. At this moment, the battle situation is gathering in an instant. The scene is in urgency. That giant flying warship was forced to stop instantly. Who is it? Who dares to intercept my Haoshan Pavilion's warship? As the hatch was opened, a group of practitioners dressed in white filed out of the giant flying warship. Fang Fan's complexion changed dramatically. The human race is the breath of the human race. It's loaded with people from my human race. Fang Fanling's eyes turned towards the practitioners in front of him, and his eyes instantly became urgent. What human race? Go away. Don't block my way here. You can't afford to delay our Haoshan Pavilion. The middle-aged man at the head looked at Fang Fan coldly, and seemed rather impatient. Say. Are you from the human plane? Are the ships loaded with all my human races? Fang Fan's body flew over directly, and indifferent rays of light flickered in his eyes. Although he is only a low-level quasi-sacred realm, he is not afraid of the supreme quasi-sacred realm in front of him. Human race? You mean those ants in the original plane? What? You and them are of the same ethnic group. I think you are also a low-level quasi-sacred realm. That kind of power, it's really not easy to be able to give birth to a low-level quasi-sage. I originally thought that this time I could only carry those lowly ants back, but I didn't expect to be able to salvage a low-level quasi-sanctuary slave by the way. Haha, it's worth a little bit of star core. As the middle-aged man spoke, his big hand scratched directly at Fang Fan. Everything is said. The human plane was looted. And among the warships are the practitioners of the human race. Kill all, give it to me, kill all. Kill all. Fang Fan's eyes turned blood red in an instant, and then he clenched his fists. This kind of thought suddenly unfolded, and the murderous intentions in front of him. The reason why he galloped back was because he was afraid of what would happen to the human plane. And now, this accident has not been avoided after all. Kill me. By you. Ridiculous. Really ridiculous. The middle-aged practitioner of Haoshan Pavilion glanced at Fang Fan, and his face gradually showed disapproval. He is an absolute quasi-sage, and Fang Fan is only a low-level quasi-sage. They are far from each other. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1407. Lord Huang Gan and others rushed over, and the power exploded instantly. 8 top quasi-sages, 1 1-star sanctuary, plus more than 100 10-star emperors and low-level quasi-sanctuaries. This is Fang Fan's confidence and courage. The face of the middle-aged man on the opposite side changed dramatically, and his body trembled unnaturally. He knew very well that this time he had encountered a hard stubble. You go to the rescue. This guy, I'll deal with it. Fang Fan clenched his fists tightly, killing light flashing in his eyes. The boundless anger is destined to be washed with blood. The urgency of fighting to the end is very real. Aragama's wrath. Fang Fan let out a soft moan, and the combat power on his body exploded in an instant. The low-level quasi-sage exploded directly to the top quasi-sage. You, what do you want to do? We are Haoshan Pavilion practitioners. This is Haoshan Pavilion's warship. Are you crazy? Aren't you afraid of Haoshan Pavilion's revenge? I advise you not to choose this road of no return. Haoshan Pavilion is not an existence that you can fight against. The middle-aged man in Haoshan Pavilion's complexion changed drastically at this moment, and then he began to roar loudly, as if he wanted to change the situation. It's just that his roaring and shouting are destined to have no meaning or value. Their existence is destined to be wiped out. Crazy in battle. Surprised in battle. Those who offend my human race will be punished even if they are far away. Any force. No one can. My human race has never taken the initiative to attack other races. You provoked again and again. Attacked again and again. Massacred again and again. Shouldn't I return it to you now? Haoshan Pavilion? He, even if you are a god, for no reason, you are not qualified to attack my human race. Otherwise, kill without mercy. Desolation of desolation. Fang Fan snorted secretly, and the momentum all over his body burst out instantly, and the combat power value soared to the peak. This move is a new move he created by combining the law of desolation, the law of annihilation and the law of space. The power increased wildly with the skyrocketing of his cultivation. One sword cut off the 9 heavens. How are you so strong? Aren't you a low-level quasi-sage? No. No. This is impossible. Feeling the crazy murderous intent around him, the middle-aged quasi-sage headed by Haoshan Pavilion was completely stunned at the moment. When did a low-level quasi-saint become so strong? In the face of crazy murder, the best way to behave is to run away. Escape. Or there is a silver lining. Continue to stick here, you will surely die. The middle-aged man in the quasi-sacred realm of Haoshan Pavilion thought about this, and immediately began to flee frantically. If he gave up everything to escape from the beginning, he might still be able to save the dog's life. As for now, it's too late. It's over. This road is blocked. Cut. Fang Fan's sword fell silently, and the sword lights flickered. Click. The sound of bone cracking came, and then the middle-aged man in Haoshan Pavilion was directly chopped in half. Strangely, not a single drop of blood was shot out, and soon, the body that was divided into 2 halves was instantly annihilated into fly ash. The annihilation of the wilderness is so terrifying. Fang Fan's mouth was slightly raised, and his eyes were shining brightly. The strongest man in this giant battleship is the middle-aged man who is the quasi-sage of the top. Now he has been beheaded. The remaining Haoshan Pavilion cultivators saw that the leader was killed, and they ran away one by one. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 1408. Kill them all. Not a single one. Fang Fan snorted coldly, killing intent in his eyes. At this time, any kindness is a joke. Everyone is bullying to the face, still hesitating? I still don't know what power this Haoshan Pavilion is. Killing one is killing 10,000 is also killing. Now let the fish that slip through the net escape. If the information is disclosed in advance, it will be really troublesome. Fang Fan clenched his fist silently, and then strode into the giant warship. Those fish that slip through the net will naturally be solved by others, but Fang Fan doesn't need to spend too much energy. The moment he stepped into the giant warship, Fang Fan's eyes froze. Blood, blood everywhere, the strong smell of blood is particularly irritating. From his perspective, I can clearly see tens of thousands of people standing crowded together, and among the crowd, there are human cultivators whose arms and legs have been cut off everywhere. Most of these human races are middle-aged men, and many of them are still wearing armor and stomach. It seems that it should be a soldier from various Terran countries. With different hair colors and different appearances, they are obviously from various countries of the human race. At this moment, they are a little scary now, and they retreated to the corners, wanting to report to the group to keep warm. The reason why these people were not killed is because they still have residual value for use. For example, branded as a slave and sold. Or, let them go directly to various dangerous mining areas and become the most humble mining slaves, spending their days in whipping and beatings all year round. All in all, There can be no good ending. The situation collapsed in an instant. Fang Fan took a deep breath, a look of pain flashing in his eyes. My name is Fang Fan. I am the lord of the palace of the emperor. Who can tell me what happened? Fang Fan exhaled, and the corners of his mouth began to twitch wildly. This is the calamity of the human race. Fang Fan? It's King Fang Fan. Really, it's really King Fang Fan. No. It should be called Fang Fan Hall Master. God Fang Fan is now the Hall Master of the human Emperor Hall. Palace Master Fang Fan is the lord of my human race. He is the emperor of my human race. Palace Master Fang Fan, you are back. Our human race was invaded by a group of people. When they entered our human race, they began to slaughter them everywhere. It is said that our human race has divine crystal ore veins and star crystal ore veins. The Terran army has been defeated. We are not their opponents at all, and they can kill the strongest of our country at will. The entire human race plane has been hit catastrophically. Palace Master Fang Fan's Palace of Flame Kingdom and Human Emperor was also attacked. They come from a force called Haoshan Pavilion. It's too strong. We are not opponents at all. Palace Master Fang Fan, please, save us. Waves of shouting came. Fang Fan's eyes gradually became condensed, killing intent, crazy concentration. The last thing he wanted to see happened, after all. The situation is far worse than he imagined. The human plane has been dealt a fatal blow. The whole army rushed to the human plane. By the way, apart from this warship, are there other warships in Haoshan Pavilion leading the human race to leave? Fang Fan's eyes turned to the crowd, and his eyes suddenly became calm. At this moment such thoughts gradually became real. We don't know. Everyone looked at each other and lowered their heads. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 1409. Fang Fan sighed, but he was photographed. These human races were all kidnapped by those Haoshan Pavilion cultivators, and they naturally couldn't know so much information. Golan, send the order down. Let the War Slaves Legion search the surrounding area. Once this kind of warship is found, intercept them all. Rescue the human race practitioners. After Fang Fan finished speaking, he couldn't help but glance at the former president of the God Extinguishing Society, Futujian, and the Brahma clan's patriarch, Brahma. Buddha sword. Brahma is dead. As the deputy commanders of the War Slaves Legion, go and lead them to find the traces of the scattered human race. If you successfully rescue the human race, you will be rewarded. If you play tricks with me, I will let you all die. Don't challenge my patience, you should be clear about my thoughts and state at the moment. Fang Fan's cold eyes looked at the Buddha sword and the death of Brahma. Most of the War Slaves Legion were filled with practitioners from the Brahma clan and the Destroyer Society. Only the two of them could better control the War Slaves Legion and put the War Slaves Legion together. Combat power to the fullest. That is to say, if they act faithfully, the efficiency will be improved several times. But if it is passive, the War Slave Army is equivalent to stagnation. Lord. My Buddha sword will definitely not betray your trust. I will complete the mission successfully. The Buddha sword dashed forward, his face flushed red. As he spoke, the corners of his mouth were still rising wildly. This guy seems to be quite happy and excited. Lord. I will definitely assist the deputy commander of the Buddha to complete the task together. To serve the Lord, I will do my best. I will die. The Brahma clan's patriarch, Brahma, also rushed over, kneeling in front of Fang Fan with a sincere face. Fang Fan blinked, a somewhat surprised look on his face. These two guys, it seems that something is not right. This wave after wave, when did you become so obedient? It stands to reason that it has not been a few days to become a war slave, and this should be the period of rebellion. Could there be some conspiracy? Fang Fan's eyes swept around the Buddha sword and Brahma, and he was slightly condensed. If there is a problem with the two of them, the war slave legion is equivalent to being abolished directly. However, they were all held hostage by the quasi-holy war slave card, and they should not dare to do the opposite. Unless they kill themselves. Go. Don't let me down. Fang Fan frowned, then waved his hand indifferently. The Buddha sword and Brahma died looking at each other, and they could see excitement in each other's eyes. This is a great opportunity to serve the Lord. If you can seize such a good opportunity, it is equivalent to making a contribution to the Lord here. At that time, if the Lord gives a few words at will, they will also be able to attract the thunder of the sanctuary, and since then they will rise up and be promoted to the sanctuary. Maybe the Lord is happy, and he can directly bestow a holy sword just like Huanggan. Thinking of this, the smiles on the faces of Buddha sword and Brahma became more and more. The wages of avarice is death. This truth is so true. Opportunity, in the palm of your hand. Of course no one wants to miss it. Handing over the search for the scattered human race to the war slaves legion, Fang Fan led his 10 major legions, 6 heroes and 4 divine pets, Huanggan, Sikong Yuxin, and others to fly directly to the human palace of the human plane. Don't have an accident. Meyer, Kylan. Kaishan. Fang Fan took a deep breath, the stalemate in his eyes was obvious. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1410. The human race must be strong. Fang Fan clenched his fist secretly, endless thoughts in his heart. If this time the human race has a strong sanctuary in charge, why is this? If everyone of the human race has the combat power of a Chentian clan cultivator this time, how can they be reduced to being sold into slavery? Relying on others is meaningless. The human race is only true when it becomes stronger. It seems that some changes have taken place on the human plane this time. It seems that some god crystal mines and star crystal mines appeared in the human race plane, which attracted countless coveted eyes, and brought such misfortune to the people. Fang Fan thought to himself, and then his eyes flashed brightly. At least when he left the Terran plane a few months ago, the Terran had not undergone these changes. The people of Chu are innocent, but Huibi is guilty. Before you become powerful, even if you have a supreme treasure, you can't keep it, and you will even provoke death. Fang Fan thought to himself, his eyes gradually became clear. Everything, see clearly. Human plane, Yan Kingdom, Acropolis, desolate God Temple. At this moment, countless human races have gathered here. Mother, an intruder has already discovered this branch temple of our Acropolis. According to this trend, they will soon come to attack the temple, we must prepare early. The commander of the Yiteng Legion and the patriarch of the Yiren clan, Yi Lingtian, said with a sad face. Previously, they were guarding the palace of the emperor and the main temple in Zhongcheng. It was this mistress Yamire who was in front of her and ordered everyone to evacuate from the tunnel, abandoning the palace of the emperor and the main temple in Zhongcheng, and immediately took refuge in the Acropolis. They were still a little puzzled before, but what happened later made them terrified. Zhongcheng was destroyed in an instant. The supreme powerhouse came, and the so-called powerful defense of Jiangqing's desolate Lord Shrine was instantly broken in their eyes. Everything looks creepy. If they had been guarding the city, guarding the emperor's palace, and guarding the main temple at that time, they would have been killed by now. Being able to save a life at this moment can only be said to be an unexpected joy. Prepare. What else can you do to prepare? At this moment, the Acropolis was covered up by our blindfold, which temporarily deceived those intruders, so that they could not find it for the time being. But it also drained all our resources. Nowadays, there are foreign invaders everywhere around the Acropolis. Once we leave the Acropolis, we will definitely be attacked. This is a disaster for the entire human race. It's not a gain or loss for one city and one place. The enemy this time is unprecedentedly powerful. We can't resist. We can only hope that those alien races just glanced around and left, otherwise, we won't be able to last long. The branch temple certainly has the power of faith to provide a defensive shield, but the premise is that the enemy cannot be too strong. You have seen it before, those people are too powerful, we have no way to retreat. Even the powerhouses of our Emperor's palace were defeated by one move. My Mayan Valkyrie Legion is just a one-star Emperor's Realm Legion. I can't stand it, I can't hold it. Ymir shook her head, her face turned pale, and she felt extremely tired both physically and mentally at this moment. The human race, is it really going to disappear completely in the long river of history? The hope of the human race, the future of the human race. The human plane, is developing in a better direction. The surrounding aura is getting stronger and stronger, and more rare minerals are discovered everywhere.